In November 2018, a 26-year-old American missionary named John Allen Chau secretly traveled to India's North Sentinel Island. The people living there belong to the isolated North Sentinelese tribe, believed to be the world's last uncontacted civilization. They have almost no knowledge of the outside world. Driven by his religious zeal, John wanted to introduce Christianity to the islanders. He went to a nearby island, bribed a local fisherman with 25,000 rupees, and convinced him to take him close to North Sentinel Island under the cover of darkness. He carried a GoPro camera, a kayak, scissors, dried fish, a football, and a Bible, planning to offer them as gifts. At sunrise on November 15th, John told the fisherman to stay back and approach the island alone. He spotted a few huts and heard faint voices. When he tried to land, two Sentinelese men holding bows and arrows came toward him.
"My name is John, I love you and Jesus loves you. Here are some fish for you."
The men raised their bows, ready to shoot. John panicked and backed away. Later that day he tried again, this time from the north side of the island. From a distance he saw about 6 Sentinelese watching and shouting. No one on earth understands their language except themselves, but John tried repeating the sounds he heard. The islanders laughed at him as he came closer and began dropping gifts on the beach. A child aimed an arrow at him. It struck his Bible and saved his life by chance. Without his kayak, John swam back to the fisherman's boat. That night he wrote in his diary, "Lord, is this island Satan's last stronghold? I don't want to die, but I must return." On November 16th, he left again for the island. He never returned. From a distance, fishermen saw the tribespeople burying a body. The clothes matched John's. North Sentinel is part of India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal. Out of 572 islands, only 38 are inhabited, and just 12 are open to visitors. The island itself is only about 60 square kilometers, heavily forested, and around 50 kilometers from Port Blair, the regional capital. The people we call Sentinelese have their own name for themselves, unknown to us. Scientists believe their ancestors migrated out of Africa about 70,000 years ago, following a path through Yemen and India before reaching Southeast Asia and Australia. Those living on isolated islands remained genetically and culturally separated for tens of thousands of years. The Sentinelese likely settled there between 10 and 30,000 years ago and have lived without contact since then. Because of this isolation, they never adopted agriculture and still live as hunter-gatherers, hunting wild pigs, fishing, collecting fruits, and gathering honey. Historical references to these islands appear as early as the 2nd century AD, when the Roman scholar Claudius Ptolemy described them as islands of cannibals. Later, Chinese, Arab, and Indian accounts repeated similar rumors, though none can be confirmed. The first recorded sighting of North Sentinel was in 1771 by a British surveyor who saw lights on the island. In 1867, a shipwrecked Indian vessel with about 100 passengers reported being attacked but rescued by the Royal Navy, the first known hostile contact. In 1880, British officer Maurice Vidal Portman tried to civilize the tribe. He brought people from other Andamanese tribes hoping they could communicate, but their languages were completely different. Portman kidnapped 4 children and an elderly couple to study them. The couple soon died in Port Blair, and the children were returned with gifts, possibly taking new germs that could have devastated the tribe. This incident may explain their enduring hostility to outsiders. In 1967, anthropologist Triloknath Pandit led the first official Indian expedition, leaving gifts like coconuts and iron tools. Over the following decades, scientists made many attempts. Each time the Sentinelese shot arrows or killed, offered animals, and buried them. When a cargo ship named Primrose ran aground near the island in 1981, the tribe tried to attack the stranded crew. Afterward, they were seen using iron scavenged from the wreck for their weapons. In 1991, something remarkable happened. Anthropologist Madhumala Chattopadhyay led an expedition that made friendly contact for the first time. The tribe accepted coconuts directly from her team. When a man aimed his bow, a Sentinelese woman stopped him, gesturing for peace. But this friendliness was brief. After 1997, all efforts to visit were met with aggression, and the Indian government decided to end contact completely. Since then, travel within a 5-kilometer radius of North Sentinel has been banned. After the 2004 tsunami, a helicopter checking their safety was met with a shower of arrows, proof that the tribe had survived. In 2006, 2 fishermen who ventured too close were killed. Observations show that the Sentinelese are short, muscular, dark-skinned, and healthy, with no signs of obesity or malnutrition. They wear fiber bands instead of clothing and live in both communal and small family huts. They build narrow wooden canoes, barely 2 feet wide, which they use in shallow waters. Their population is estimated between 50 and 500. Their language includes many high-pitched sounds like ba, pa, ila, and sa. They bury their dead on the beach rather than in forests or by cremation. Despite ancient rumors, there is no evidence they are cannibals. They live in balance with their environment, hunting and gathering sustainably without exhausting the island's resources. Some believe the Sentinelese should be integrated into modern society, while others argue they should be left undisturbed. History shows that tribes exposed to modern life often suffer from disease, addiction, and loss of culture. The Great Andamanese once numbered about 5,000. Today, only a few dozen remain. For the Sentinelese, isolation may be the only way to preserve their way of life and to survive.